Welcome to the Soul Session with Samira Serafini. You landed here for a reason. You're ready to heal your heart, embody authentic confidence, and soften into your feminine energy. It's time to live in true alignment and manifest a blissful life. Let's begin. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Soul Session. I'm Samira Serafini, intuitive therapist, host of this podcast, and creator of the Soul Method. If you're new here, welcome. I'm really glad to have you here. And if you came straight from part 1 of this series, perfect. You're exactly where you need to be. This is the part 2 of the Soul Method series. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, the Heal episode, I genuinely recommend you starting there because these 3 pillars build on each other. So one sits on the top of the next. Heal clears the space and Align fills it. And today we're talking about alignment. This episode is called Align, Nervous System, Regulation, Authenticity, and Intuition. And I want to open with something I see constantly. People who are working so hard to change their lives, reading the books, following the routines, doing all the things the internet says you should do, and still feeling like something is slightly off, like they're wearing a life that doesn't quite fit, like they're performing a version of themselves instead of actually being themselves. But here's what I want to say to that. You're not lost. You're just not present. And that, the return to presence, to your actual self in this actual moment, is what alignment is. Not a performance, not a strategy, a return. Let me ask you something. Do you struggle with anxiety? That low level of unease that seems to follow you even when nothing is technically wrong? Do you find yourself self-sabotaging, getting close to something you want and then pulling back or making choices you don't fully understand? Are you someone who has a hard time maintaining momentum? You start something with energy and intention, and a few weeks later, you're back where you started? Or maybe this one. Do you spend a lot of time imagining who you want to be, trying to become her, act like her, think like her, and somehow still feel disconnected from yourself? If any of this is familiar, what I want you to know is this is not a discipline problem, not a motivational problem, nor character flaw. Misalignment is not a lack of discipline. It's a disconnection from the reality, from yourself, from this moment, from who you actually are right now. And that's what we are working on today. In today's session, we're going to work on your empowerment. Because here's something I see in almost every client. They have power, energy, capacity, but they're dispersing it to the external world, to a future version of themselves they're trying to force into existence. And they end up feeling like victims of their own life. Or like a child, waiting for permission, waiting for the right moment, or for something external to finally make them feel ready. So today, I want to give you a framework that brings that power back inside. A simple, practical, and repeatable process for living in alignment, not as an ideal, but as a daily practice. Because alignment is not a destination you arrive at, it's a movement you return to again and again. So here's what we're covering today. First, what alignment actually is and what it isn't, including why trying to fake it till you make it creates more disconnection, not less. Then the relationship between your nervous system and alignment, and why regulation comes first. And finally, the 3-step framework I use in my sessions with the SOAP method. We'll close with a body check-in practice, a simple but powerful way to develop this sensitivity to attune to your own body, your emotions, and your own signals. And I'll tell you what's coming in the part 3, the final piece of this series. So let's begin. Let's start by clearing something up. Because there's a version of alignment that's everywhere right now. You see it on TikTok, on Instagram, in every self-development corner of the internet. Become her. Be that girl. Act as if. Embody your future self. And I understand the appeal. There's something hopeful about it. The idea that you can simply decide to be different and be different. But here's what actually happens energetically when you try to perform a self you haven't yet become. You create a gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be. And that gap, that dissonance, the body feels it. It's like a child playing dressed up. She puts on the heels and the coats. She looks the part, but her nervous system knows the truth. And her body moves accordingly to her nervous system, not the dress up playing. Because energy doesn't lie. And when you try to skip over where you actually are, when you bypass the present reality to perform a future identity, you fragment your energy. You lose your groundedness. And paradoxically, you move further from alignment, not closer. Real alignment is not a performance. It's a precise awareness of where you are right now. And small, honest movements from that place. Not where you wish you were, where you are. And that's the starting point of everything. Now, let's talk about the nervous system, because this is where the real misunderstanding lives. A lot of people think that a regulated nervous system means always calm, or always positive and in control and performing well. But that's not regulation, that's suppression. Because a truly regulated nervous system, it's not a still pond. It's a river that moves. It means when you're sad, you cry and then you come back. When you're angry, you feel it, express it safely, and then return to your center. When you're excited, you let that excitement move through you, and then you return to your center. When you're tired, you rest without guilt, and then you return to your center. So, a regulated nervous system is resilient. It moves through the full range of human experience and keeps finding its way back to center. And here's the key insight I want you to take from this. Regulation doesn't happen as a result of alignment. Regulation is what allows alignment to happen. So when your nervous system is dysregulated, when there's stored stress, unprocessed emotion, a system running on survival mode, you cannot accurately see where you are. You cannot hear your intuition or make decisions from your authentic center. You're like a compass in a magnetic field. It's spinning and it can't find the north. That's why heel came first. And that's why nervous system regulation is the foundation of aligned. And anxiety is the price of living outside of the present moment. So when you are in the past, you are in grief, in guilt, in old stories. When you are in the future, you are in anxiety, worry, and scenarios that don't exist yet. But when you are here, present, in your body, in this moment, the nervous system can finally settle. And from that settled place, alignment becomes possible. So here's the framework. 3 steps. Anchor, attune, act. Think of it like a GPS. When you open a GPS and ask for directions, the first thing it does is find your location. Not your destination, your location. You cannot navigate from a place you pretend to be. You can only navigate from where you actually are. So this is step 1, anchor. This is the act of arriving in the present, of seeing clearly and honestly where you are. Not where you wish you were, not compared to where you think you should be, where you are. This means acknowledging your current emotional state, even if it is uncomfortable. Seeing your current life circumstances without judgment, and recognizing your current strengths and limitations without shame. I have a client who spent years trying to manifest a thriving business. She had vision boards, affirmations, morning routines, and every few months she crashed, burned out, doubted herself, called it off. When we sat together in a session, the first question I asked was, where are you right now actually. And what came out was exhausted, overwhelmed, completely disconnected from her own rhythm. She had been trying to build from a place she wasn't in. The moment she anchored in where she actually was, something in her system softened. So she started to making her morning routine, her goals for the business, her tasks more slowly, more soft, so she could fit in into where she was at that point. Because reality, even when it's uncomfortable, is a relief. It's solid ground. So when you anchor, you reclaim your starting point. And from a real starting point, you can actually go somewhere. Now, step two, attune. Once you know where you are, you listen. And this is the part that gets skipped most often because we live in a culture that values doing over sensing, moving over noticing, acting over feeling. So, attuning means turning your attention inward, asking, what is my body telling me right now? And I want to give you some concrete signs because this can feel abstract. Your body expands or contracts. When something is aligned, you often feel a subtle opening, a little more space in your chest, a softening in your shoulders. And when something is wrong for you, you feel contraction in your body right away. Tightening, heaviness, a sense of shrinking. Your breathing changes. Around aligned choices, your breath tends to deepen. Around misaligned ones, it gets shallow or you hold it without even realizing it. So you feel lightness or weight. Some things, when you think about them, you feel light, energizing, possible. Others feel like carrying something, dense, doing. And these are not metaphors, these are signals. Your body is always communicating with you, and the work of a line is learning to listen. And beyond the body, your intuition, because intuition is not a mystical thing that arrives in flashes, it's the quiet knowledge that comes when your nervous system is settled and the mind isn't dominating. So, when you are anchored in the present and attuned to your body, you start to notice a direction, not a loud voice, often just a pull, a sense of this way, or not yet, not here, or yes, this way. So, step three, act. And this is where alignment becomes real. Because alignment, it's not a feeling you wait to have, it's a decision you make. And here's the insight I want you to carry. Small decisions create movement, and movement regulates the nervous system. So you see, it is a circle that where one feeds the other. This is crucial. A lot of people wait to feel aligned before they act. But the nervous system doesn't work that way. And here's the insight I want you to carry. Small decisions create movement, and movement regulates the nervous system. This is crucial. A lot of people wait to feel aligned before they act. But the nervous system doesn't work that way. The nervous system regulates through action, through small, authentic movements that signal to the body, I'm not stuck, I'm capable, I can choose. So you don't have to make big decisions, you just have to make the next one. The one that's honest and yours. Even if it's tiny. Even if it's just saying no to one thing. Or saying yes to one small step in the direction that feels true. And then you return to step one. You anchor again, you attune again, and you act again. This is not a one-time process. It's a practice, a rhythm. Like breathing, you don't do it once and expect to leave. You do it constantly, and it becomes natural. So you see, alignment, it's not a destination. It's a return you practice every day. And I want to pause here. If you don't know what you're feeling, if you cannot hear your own body, if you freeze when it's time to make a decision, I want to say something clearly. That's not a personality trait. That's a skill that wasn't developed yet, or a disconnection that happened for a reason, and it can be worked with. In the soul session, we do exactly this, but in your specific field. Your disconnection, your patterns of avoidance and collapse, we find where the signal got cut out and we restore it somatically, systemically, energetically. If you don't trust your own body, if you don't know what you feel, if you freeze every time a decision needs to be made, check the link in the show notes. One session, just you and me. The door is open. And for our practice today, we're doing a body check-in. This is something I do with clients at the beginning of the session, and it's something you can do in 2 minutes, anywhere, anytime. And the more you practice, the more sensitive you become. And sensitivity is the foundation of alignment. So whatever you are right now, pause. Put down whatever you're doing if you can, and take one slow breath and release. Now I want you to do a scan. Not dramatic one, just a quiet noticing. Start at the top of your head. Is there tension over there? Pressure? Or is it relatively easy? Just notice. And then you move to your jaw. Is it clenched, tight, or relaxed? Your shoulders, are they up near your ears, or are they dropped and easy? Your chest, is there tightness there, heaviness, or does it feel open and spacious? your belly. Tight, contract, or soft. Now just take note. You don't have to fix anything. Just notice where the tension lives. Because that tension is communication, it's your body telling you something. Now, I want you to think of one area of your life where you feel uncertain or stuck right now. Just one. Bring it to the mind. And notice what happens in your body. Does something contract? Does your breath change? Does a heaviness appear somewhere? Now you let that image go and take a deep breath. Now think of something that feels right, aligned, blissful, even if it is small. A relationship that nourishes you, a creative project, a moment in your week that feels good. What does your body do now? Does something soften? Does your breath deepen? Does a lightness appear? That contrast, tension and softness, contraction and expansion, that is your compass. That is your body is speaking. And you just heard it. So this is the practice of attune, that you can bring it into your daily life, even once a day, even for 60 seconds. This sensitivity will grow, and with it, your alignment. And if you want to continue developing this sensitivity with exercises to help you anchor in reality, feel your body and act from your authentic center, the Becoming You Activation Workbook is for you. It's a journey of 5 days of practices, and you can download it for free in the show notes. And bring what you practiced today into part 3. Because in the next episode, Manifest, we take everything you cleared and aligned, and we learn how to direct it. So let this land. Alignment is not performing your future self. It's not becoming her or becoming that girl. It's the honest, precise return to where you actually are, and a small, authentic movement from that place. And misalignment is not a discipline problem, it's a disconnection from reality. And nervous system regulation is not about being calm all the time, it's about being resilient, moving through the full range of human experience and finding your way back to center. And crucially, regulation doesn't happen as a result of alignment. Regulation allows alignment to happen. So you cannot force alignment. You create the conditions for it. By healing, by regulating, by grounding yourself in the present and in the reality. And the framework: anchor, attune, and act. Anchor, arrive where you are, really. Attune, listen to your body and your intuition. Notice the expansion and contraction. Act. Make the next bold, honest decision. Because small decisions create movement and then return to anchor and repeat. So before you are copying what others do, waiting to feel aligned before you act, disconnected from your own body, and living slightly outside of yourself. But after this session, you are now grounded in reality. You can hear your own body, you can trust your own signals, and you take the next step. Not perfectly, but authentically. So, your one practice this week, the daily body check in, 60 seconds, 3 questions. Where am I tense? Where am I soft? And what is my body telling me right now? So, you do it every day until part 3. Because in Manifest, we take this clarity and we learn to use it. One last invitation. If what we explored today felt important, but also distant from where you currently are, if you don't know what you feel, or you freeze when decisions arrive, and alignment feels like a concept you understand but cannot access, the soul session is for that. We find the specific place where your signal got cut, and we restore it. Your way, your pace. You can check the link in the show notes. I'm here if you feel the call. Keep going between the episodes. The Becoming You workbook is free for download in the show notes. Sign up for my newsletter where weekly I share more of my own personal process, and it is a very intimate space. Share this episode if it has served you, and a review on the podcast means everything. All links are in the description. Part 3 drops later this week, and in that episode, Manifest, we take everything we've done in this series and we learn to direct it. So Hugh created a space aligned, filled it with your authentic self. And Manifest is what happens when a clear, regulated, grounded person turns their attention towards what they want to create. I'll tell you now, it's not what most people think manifestation is. It's not vision boards and high vibrations. It's something more precise and more embodied. And honestly, I cannot wait to share it with you. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're not too scattered or too stuck to change. You just haven't had a clear map yet. But now you do. Remember, a woman who changes her life is healing her whole lineage. Thank you so much for being here. I see you in the part 3. Sending you so much love. If you made it to the end of this episode, it means you're truly committed to healing your heart and living in true alignment. I see you, and I'm so proud of you. Make sure to subscribe to the Soul Session so you never miss our weekly time together. And if you enjoy what you heard, please leave a review and share your biggest takeaway. I'd love to hear from you. For exclusive content straight to your inbox, subscribe to my weekly newsletter. And if you're ready to quantum leap into your next level, book a one-on-one session with me. You'll find all links in the description. Thank you for being here. Sending you so much love. Until next time.